Okay, we gotta beat this spider in the hut. Let's go. It's time for berries. It's time for wood. It's time for a hut. It's time for more wood. There we go. Okay. I feel like this is kind of the game that I should have like a, my drawing tablet out, and so I'm just drawing while we wait for things to happen. But it's surprisingly active. Like I can't just walk away from this. You can queue up the actions, but they burn through in a matter of like a little bit. That's okay. Let's see. What else do we do? What even changes? The answer is nothing. Nothing changes. We just keep going. Eventually we will cut enough wood and gather enough berries that, let's see, we'll cut enough wood and gather enough berries that we can actually just sit back and watch this entire early section just go automatically. Maybe building the carts helps you build your construction skill enough that you can get the hut? Nah, because construction skill doesn't make me more efficient, it just makes me faster. So, it's not that the construction skill needs to be higher, it's that my wood cutting and my stone cutting needs to be faster. And so if I can get those up, that's how I get the hut. It's a good game to play while listening to a podcast or watching a show. Yeah. I wonder if there's a mobile app version of this. Because I definitely don't touch a whole lot of mobile games, but I feel like this is the kind of thing that I could just like have on my phone and just like it pings whenever it's done or I'm dead. And does the cart unlock anything? Not to my knowledge, no. There we go. I think we got it. Now, is it going to be much faster than last time, or nah? I guess we'll find out momentarily. I feel like agility. I know it's for exploring. Does it actually say what this is? No, it's just telling me about generation levels. Oh, that's interesting. These numbers are compounding with themselves and multiplicative with each other. Huh. That's okay, that's really cool. So that does mean that there's a scaling element to it all. Let's see. Well, I guess we might as well catch fish, cut wood, build the campfire, and then go from there. But yeah, numbers get big. I didn't realize that the generation levels even compounded themselves, but that's kind of big in its own right. Yeah, it definitely explores 45 seconds faster. Let's see. So there's a very clear base progression that I've already displayed, and I'm kind of looking forward to more of it. Let's see. Sorry if this is a weird or personal question. Do you have any plans on recording another game with Shell in the near future? So we've been playing Pokemon a lot lately, so that's been our main thing that we've been recording together. But that one's been for YouTube because our recording schedule is a little kind of here and there. And also because there's an amount of that game that I straight up just, you know, she will just kind of tune out while I catch some Pokemons for like half an hour before we get back to recording. So that's what we've been recording if you're looking for more of us. If you're looking for the live stream side of things, there's a couple of demos that we're going to be checking out over the next week together. The main problem is because we're moving, it means we can't commit to a whole lot of immediate series, which is kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of another of the other. That makes sense? Probably doesn't. I'm just kind of rambling. But effectively, let's see, catch fish, cook fish. I guess we're actually full up on fish. So we'll do it kind of in that. Just to check, I launched Increlution and my farming stat is 5.5 for e to the e6. Cripes. Okay, so there is some very heavy big number in this game, apparently. But so, because we're moving in a while, I don't actually know when we're moving per se, because we have like 2 months, kind of a period of 2 months to get out of here. We could actually like just move next week, and just peace out, and that would be fine, or we could move a little earlier, or a little later. And so what I'm trying to do specifically is to have a massive amount of footage backlogged, for just various games and series and stuff, so that, you know, while I'm gone, you know, just driving across the country and can't really record, I can just let my channel run on autopilot, and I don't have to think about like, oh boy, I you know, gotta record, you know, for like 2 hours tonight in the hotel after driving for 10 hours today. Like that's heck, and I don't want to do it. And so I'd much rather, I would much rather try and get a lot of that stuff done and set up. And so, as part of that, it's going to be kind of difficult for us to tackle any immediate, like, series, which is what we usually do together. The things that are most possible, and could even happen sooner than later, would be like, maybe either more Phoenix Wright, or, I don't know, maybe something small like Later Alligator. Because I've been wanting to play Later Alligator for a while, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So no cross-country live streams then? Probably not. I mean, obviously, if we end up, like, snowed in a motel somewhere in Nebraska, then that will change things a little bit dramatically. I will get this hut. Let's see, guessing Horizon Forbidden West is not part of your plans due to the move. Oh gosh, I gotta decide on some of these things, because one of my big problems with AAA games is a lot of people don't want to watch them because they want to play them for themselves and don't want to get spoiled. The other thing is that they're long. Like my series on Horizon Zero Dawn was like, how many episodes? It was a while. It was 20 episodes for the DLC and 40 episodes for the main game. That's a lot. And like, one thing I've definitely been trying to pull back on a little bit is like official series or long streams of anything, just because like from a YouTube perspective, YouTube straight up does not like episode 1 through 40 on YouTube. I mean, even like looking at my Horizon Zero Dawn series, it was from 5 years ago. Jeez. But like the viewership on it was kind of it was okay. But that I really needed to do a video essay on this as to why like Let's Plays have kind of really dropped off from a functional level. But like the fundamental problem always boils down to the first episode of a Let's Play gets 100% of the views. Second episode gets 50% of those. Then the next one gets 30%, and then it goes down to a floor of like maybe a couple thousand tops. And that's tough when you're spending hours and hours on something, but the lion's share of the actual, I don't want to say the reward, the lion's share of the actual, like, the reward, because it's not really a reward, it's not like a full mercenary thing, but imagine if, well, okay, I'll put it from a school perspective, because that's the easiest way I can think of it. Imagine you have a teacher. Teacher tells you need to write a 20-page paper, but you know that you could write absolute gibberish after page 2, and the teacher would still only grade you on those first 2 pages, because they just don't bother. You know, they might look to see that you've done it, it's not just blank pages, but, you know, ultimately, pages 3 through 10 are, pages 3 through 10 are meaningless as far as your grade goes, because fundamentally the teacher just does not care. And so the problem kind of boils down to, with a lot of Let's Plays, is that that YouTube and how its algorithm is currently focused in on things that you are inherently punished for trying to do a linear series on a game that is a linear kind of game, if that makes sense. And so what it does is it actually very much pushes me to finish a game as fast as possible, and if I'm stuck playing it, I end up resentful, regardless of whether I like the game or not. And that's just the worst position to be in. And so from a streaming perspective, you can kind of get away with it a little bit more. And just by doing whatever you want for a while. Take it that's why Lobotomy Corporation got shelved, because man, that game is long. Yeah, I think I'm going to relaunch it as a Season 2 in a little while, once I have a little bit more free time. But I'm not going to commit to it until after I've moved. Because I love Lobotomy Corporation. I think it's neat. My problem was I ended up picking up the magical girl, and she kept just killing everyone. Let's see, would it help if you release 10 episodes at once? No, that's actually even worse. You are hard-locked to 1 episode per day, and if you miss a day, you lose viewership. If you're late, you lose viewership. It is really weird. And it makes perfect sense, like, if you look at the algorithm and understand what YouTube is going for. But, like, fundamentally, you can kind of trick the system, but the only way that you can really do that is by having an extremely, extremely passionate fan base that will come back for every single one of those episodes. And there are only a handful of creators that can really pull that off. Damn, we're making good time on this, actually. There we go. Is that why Pokemon Arceus has been so consistent? Yes, because it's got a very, very passionate fan base, specifically for that, game, but that will kind of drop off. There's a couple of other series that have done kind of that well. So the game It Takes Two, when we covered that actually had a very passionate viewership right from the get-go, which is actually kind of surprising. The first episode only got, well, no, I guess I'm kind of right. It's, so the first episode got 40,000 views, second episode got 20,000 views. So, follows the formula for the most part, at least initially, of 100%, 50%, 30%, but then its floor was about at the, 20% mark, which is actually really good. If you can have a 20% retention from episode 1 to the finale on an LP, that actually is like a really successful series, but that's so rare that it's hard to build around, which is why you've probably noticed I've been moving more towards roguelikes, tower defenses, and games that I can like pick up and put down and just like not come back to for a while. So, you know, if I wanted to, oh boy, we're actually starting to run out a little bit. Let's cook some more fish. And then catch fish. I might be able to get the hut done, but it's gonna be damn close here. It Takes Two is one that people love to see reactions to. Each person can only experience the elephant the first time once. Oh, gosh. That damn elephant. But yeah, this is true. Oh yeah, that base instinct multiplier really is actually starting to carry. What is my fish catch rate? Oh yeah, 1 every 2.7 seconds. It's still not quite enough. Especially once you get up into the 5s. Damn elephant. That damn elephant almost made me quit the game. Like, that scene was just so... dang. Ah. Okay, cut wood, dig stone, build hut. I might be able to pull this off. Elephant, what game? It Takes Two. Yeah, we don't talk about the elephant, we want to skip that chapter, but it is one of the better chapters. It really is. Especially, like, the dinosaur cart section was, like, really good. They thought it would be a nice black comedy, but instead everyone hated it. Because it wasn't funny. Like, the big issue is that it ultimately just drove home that both of the main characters were just the literal worst people. And, like, if it wasn't for that scene, I think I would have understood their whole, like, major spoilers for It Takes Two, I'm sorry. But, you know, I would have understood the ending a little bit more, where they seem to be, like, more interested in each other again. But that moment was the one where I was just like, these people are, you know, maybe they can kind of learn to work around it, but ultimately, fundamentally, they do not care about anybody but themselves. And it was just weird watching them try and redeem the characters past that point. Yeah, looks like the hut isn't happening. At least not for that round. But now... Okay, currently top priority. Well, I mean, this works out. We at least can auto-gather wood, which is going to be kind of nice, because it means less clicking for me. I can just hang out and chat. The next round might. We're getting so close. My baseline farming and fishing speed is 1.55 without any generation levels, which is kind of big. Oh, I've lost so many hench bits already. Yes, feed it to the machine. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other games that had that level of retention. And there's a couple of them. How did my Hollow Knight series do? Considering my, like, first episode of Hollow Knight is one of my best series ever on YouTube. Right, I did 2 series of Hollow Knight. That kind of throws it off a little bit. First episode got 1 million, and then it dropped down to about a floor of 20,000. Actually not bad, all things considered. But still, it's such a pain just losing that much viewership on anything. I know this kind of talk is very much just like, you know, I almost feel like I'm definitely overprivileged, which is part of the problem. Maybe not. You know, there's no way that you can kind of logic around the idea of like, hey, yes, I get to play video games for a living, you know, stop whining about it. Like, there's no way I can counter that point for the most part. But there very much is still kind of that fundamental problem of like, when you examine your day-to-day or whenever you're doing anything and you kind of try and examine like, hey, what should I do? What shouldn't I do? And you always kind of want to optimize around the idea of like, what's worth it for me? How much fun do I get out of doing X or Y? And, you know, what pays the bills? You know, you're not going to get the job that pays you sub-minimum wage just because you like it better. Sometimes, I mean, I think some people will. I know there's a number of people that go, you know, big on volunteer work or something like that. But yeah, it's the classic artist dilemma of, you know, do you do the thing you like or the thing that you like almost as much as the other thing that pays better? And so you ultimately go for the other one. Or you go for the thing that pays a little bit better because that gives you some free time to kind of rest, relax, and live your life. At least that's where I'm at. Let's see. Love that creepy rock game where you're a rock and there were eyeballs in the background. Was it Grime? Yeah, it was Grime. That was a good game. I enjoyed it up until about the midway point, at which point they made parrying non-viable, and then I lost all interest. At the end of the day, we all gotta eat. Well, my problem was specifically, I was putting out like 10 videos on YouTube, which is super doable when you're young and energetic and everything is great and you're not burnt out. And there was like, I did not feel any burnout until 2021. Like, there was just no feeling of like, I don't want to do this anymore. I was just, every day I get up and I was just so exciting. Or so excited to, you know, get further in a game or get a little further, on covering new releases or something like that. You know, just everything was just kind of fun. And then 2020 happened and I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna, you know, keep doing what I'm doing and, you know, I don't have to worry about anything, so I'm just gonna hang out inside. And then 2021 is like, oh, there's no end in sight. and everything is suddenly like worse now, and just motivation plummeted. It was rough. And then after that, I just had to find a good homeostasis. Whoa, hey, Pocket Pack. Shout out to an old friend. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, your job isn't so much playing games for a living as it is entertaining through video games. Entertaining is super stressful. It can be fun, but still, entertaining isn't what you enjoy. It's doing what we enjoy. That crap is hard. Yeah, I think for me, like, I really do enjoy entertaining people, and I do really enjoy the game aspect. Like, it's a perfect fusion of a lot of my interests, and it works really, really well. I was curious if you remembered me. How you doing? I remember all of my friends. And I do actually check in every once in a while. Maybe not as often as I should. I remember, I think last time I tuned in on you, you were playing Satisfactory, but I think that might have been like 2 years ago. Busy man. But, is what it is, yeah. Otherwise, I'm doing good. I was talking about this earlier, moving back across the country to go live with my parents again, which, oddly enough, the last time I was hanging with you, I was living with my parents. But this time it's so I can buy a house without having to worry about dealing with renting a house and buying a house simultaneously. You know, save a little bit more for the deposit and be flexible. Because the nice part is my parents are just about retirement age and have like gobs of time saved up for vacations. And so what I'm kind of hoping is that like I can get them to help ferry me to whatever houses we're touring. And also Shell will just gladly drive to. But, you know, having an extra set of eyes that have bought many houses in the past who can be like, hey, this house is actually, like, secretly a wreck. You know, that little background thing to just safeguard would be really nice. Because I'm terrified of making a bad purchase. Because, boy, houses are expensive. And you can't exactly back out on them without a lot of money. I drop in on you from time to time. I've been super busy, so I don't normally hang out for that long. But things have finally calmed down. I find myself with tons of late night free time. Yeah, late night free time is good. That was the other reason why I wanted to pull back, especially on Let's Plays, is that, like, talking about a game, you know, Death Stranding, for example, if I had done like a traditional Let's Play on Death Stranding, that would have been like a 70 to 140 episode series, and just hours and hours of time trying to be entertaining, and trying to be entertaining, and you know, actually just blowing up my voice to do it, and that just takes so much time. And to some degree, I kind of wanted that time back so that I could hang out in the evenings, you know, maybe still play the same game, not record a series on it, but still have the same experience from my end. Alright. Do you think I will make the hut this time? We will see. Want to make the cart? Because it doesn't... I think the cart's kind of okay useful, but since there is no efficiency lost between tasks, what you want to do... having extra capacity doesn't really change how fast I work. It just means I have to switch less often. Let's see. Partner chose a house we bought as I was too ill to go see it. And we've moved in. There's loads of fixing up that needed that I would have seen as I moved loads, and he only moved once. Ouch. Yeah, I was trying to talk about this, I think, when I was playing Rogue Tower, but especially from my perspective, I can't really afford to spend too much time on, or not spend too much time. I can't afford to pick a bad house because, you know, for most people, your house is your kind of afternoon and evening place, and then weekends. And if you're lucky to work from home, then you understand what I'm kind of going from as far as this angle goes. That from my perspective, if I pick a bad house, I've picked a bad workplace. I've picked a bad environment to be creative in. And so A lot of people were pointing out for 2021 that I sounded depressed, and I was. I mean, go figure. But that if I'm not happy in the environment that I'm in, fundamentally my content suffers, and therefore my work suffers. And so there was kind of that there's kind of that risk factor, specifically with if I get a house with like a bad office. Say if my office is next to a basketball court, and every day from dawn till dusk I hear boom, boom, boom as just basketballs are going, I would lose my mind. And so currently my problem is people's barking dogs and my neighbors who have extremely loud cars that they just like to idle outside my house for a while. And like, I've gotten to the point where I can kind of tune them out. It's still annoying, but it's not like killer annoying. It's just kind of there. And so, if I pick the wrong house and then I am stuck living with that for X number of hours every day for how many years, you know, that's all of a sudden that constant thorn in your side that you can't get rid of, because like, what are you gonna do? Move? I guess, but that's a lot of money, and that's a lot of time and effort that like I want to pick the perfect space and then never have to worry about it. The dogs, when I feel it, except for its cats on my own house, just get heating elements. They'll just go absolutely cook themselves on them. If I know anything about cats, they just are drawn to sources of heat. Which is odd because they're fluffy as hell, and shouldn't they just cook? But I don't know. I'm mostly housebound, so I empathize. Next door of screaming arguments, but it's much better than the previous place that was an actual gangland. Ooh. And we had a nice apartment in Kansas for 1 year, and then the industrial facility started making this just very loud humming noise for the next year and a half that we were there, and that was misery. And then also the people across the wall from us moved in and started having screaming matches and parties from, you know, all the way to dawn, and it was just suddenly just like, couldn't do it. Had to get out of there. This house was mostly fine, but just a couple of things. Okay. Probably cook some more fish, catch some fish, and keep working on this hut. I think we're gonna get the hut done. I bet the fire a while ago really didn't help with things either. The fire was interesting. So that was actually the turning point where my environment no longer felt good anymore. But like I said, for 2021 or for 2020, you know, lockdown and whatnot, there was very much a feeling of like, okay, this sucks, but like whatever, I'll get through it. And then September 2020, I don't know how many of you guys saw the news, but like a lot of the Pacific Northwest caught fire. And it was so bad. Like I have some pictures of just the environment. Like you can't see more than maybe 10, 20 feet outside because it's just that smoky. And like I know a lot of people had it worse than me, but we effectively had to take my entire office setup, drag it into our bedroom, and run an air filter only in that room because there was no way we were going to be able to be functional in any other part of the house because it was still getting in despite our you know, air system having decent filters. And so that was the only room we could have fresh air in. And it was cramped and it was uncomfortable and we felt bad. Our eyes were itchy, our throats were scratchy, and I just had a persistent, just terrible headache. It looked like the Oblivion gates opened up over there. Yeah, it really did. And I mean, honestly, on a baseline level, it was actually really cool to live through once and be in a safe spot where I most likely was not going to get... Ooh. I'm just gonna keep working on that hut regardless. Okay, I gotta get the berries. Okay, no, I think I killed myself. I did. The auto on the wood did me in. I was too reliant on it, and it wrecked me. It kind of like a tornado, except for longer. Yeah, I think that's a good way of kind of comparing it. Is there no pause button? There is. See, priority low. Okay, I guess I'll put it to priority regular. Because we do need the wooden hut. It's fine. I mean, ultimately it's an incremental game. No matter what, just doing anything gets me further. Though we get more EXP much faster later on, so I probably could have pulled that off, maybe. But yeah, the fire seemed like the opposite of a northeast blizzard. Kind of, sort of. The main thing with the main thing with the blizzard is that you still have access to your house, you just can't go outside. The issue with the fires is that you couldn't even leave, like, one room because the air quality was that bad, and it was just, like, it was just miserable. And I was stuck there for 2 weeks. And, like, I made it work, but all of a sudden, like, everything coming out of that was just like, wow, I need to not be here. And then I was here for another year. And so now that there's kind of a light in the end of the tunnel where it's like, yeah, we're leaving, I feel a lot more positive about my environment because it's not my problem anymore and I don't need to worry about it. Did we get the hut? No, we got so close, but I screwed it up. My friends in Texas are finding it so hard with the snow and no power, etc. Yeah, I'm not surprised after last year that... Let's see. After last year's snowstorms, I'm not actually surprised that they didn't do anything to improve their power grid, but I am severely disappointed. Because Texas should not be having major issues with ice storms. Well, no, I guess they should be. Because they're not really prepped for it. When I lived in North Carolina, we had a really bad snowstorm one winter. I guess the winter that we were there. And it shut down the whole town for like a week and a half. It was great for me, because no school, but boy, everybody else was having the hardest time with it. Let's see, so is this essentially all the stuff that makes Minecraft without the graphical bits? Kind of. It's more of an incremental game, so if you have ever played like Clicker Heroes, it does a lot of the same stuff. Now, what does the wooden cart do? It gives you extra inventory space. I could, screw it. We'll just make the wooden cart this time around. This game has a dark room vibes. It does, but I like this better. A dark room went from being a neat incremental game to like a strange exploration game in a way that I was not as jazzed about. I lived in Texas. They had ice storms around Christmas every year. Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's mostly just that your infrastructure, or Texas's infrastructure, isn't really built to withstand, you know, heavy ice storms, and that it's more of just kind of how would I put it? That the expected weather pattern is, except for a couple of freak storms, for the most part, everything's supposed to be nice and temperate, or outright hot. And so you build a lot of the houses with that in mind, even so much as like PVC piping and whatnot. And so what that means is that anything that is out of the norm, effectively the local population and the infrastructure can't handle it in the same way. It's like if you get a snowstorm in Florida, or, I mean, not even that. If you get 50-degree weather in Florida, you see a bunch of people going around in, you know, big puffy jackets and complaining about the cold like it's actually something problematic, as opposed to, you know, hilariously like a hilarious non-issue. I've been to Florida midwinter, and it was really funny being in t-shirt shorts and getting weird looks from people that look like they have been stuck outside in a blizzard for a while. But like the same thing happened here this past summer when we had 116-degree weather, I think it was. That's like 40-something Celsius for those of you not on freedom units. But like most of the Pacific Northwest is really supposed to get nice, temperate, kind of rainy, pleasant weather. Not 80s or 100s. It's supposed to be, you know, kind of 60 to 80 year-round. Well, not year-round, but, you know, from spring to fall. A little hot on the hottest days of the summer, but not, like, overwhelmingly so. And so, I guess I should probably start cooking the fish, too. Yeah, welcome to Canada. Here in Saskatchewan, you see people in shorts right up until freezing. Yeah, I mean, that was me in the north, at least for a couple years, and then eventually I was just like, no, actually, that's still kind of me, because fundamentally, I like to be in shorts in winter, because often houses are actually heated more so, and so, you know, sure, it's cold outside, but especially if I'm not walking around for too long, I can just pop from car to house or building or whatever, and walk back inside, and then it's like super toasty, and so I see everybody else just kind of overwarm and miserable, and I'm there happily in my shorts, not overwarm or miserable. My family in Newfoundland has noticed drastically less snow in the past decade or so. Yep, we've absolutely wrecked a lot of stuff, and it's super sad. I don't want to talk about that one too much. But so, just to go back to, well, I don't want to talk about it now. Talk about weather around here in Portland. But one of the big issues in Portland is because the weather's only supposed to be between like 60 something and 85, you don't see a whole lot of houses here with air conditioning units. And so when we were moving here, there was very much that like, we got to find a place with AC, because when we were in Kansas, our AC was not capable of dealing with 100-degree weather, and it got kind of miserable at times. So we wanted to make sure that even though Portland's supposed to be cooler, we'd be prepared for cooler weather, or hotter weather, just because. And so, yeah, when it became 116 outside, there were a lot of people that, like, actually had to seek shelter elsewhere because their houses were, like, incapable of being tolerable at that temperature. But we had air conditioning and actually managed pretty well. The first day was bad, and then it was like, oh wait, if we just turn our house into an ice box overnight when the temperatures aren't so bad, then the midday temperatures aren't killer. And it turned out to actually work really well. Oh, I'm actually missing the stone. Haha! I was wondering about that. What is my fishing speed at this point? 2.667 seconds. I could go for the stone cart, but I don't think I want to. I think we need this hut. Which actually, speaking of looking at this, my health decay is way less problematic than it used to be. I still don't think we're going to get the hut down, but we're going to get a lot closer. Well, no. I think we will get it. Just barely this time. And then we will die soon after. My digging speed. It's good. So what does the campfire do? Campfire lets me cook fish. That's it. What do you think you'll get after killing the spider? More progression systems. Maybe iron? I'm not quite sure. Should be called the murder hut. Seems like every time you get close, you die. It's haunted. It does kind of have that vibe to it. Make some spider armor. Huh. I do wish this had some randomized roguelike power-ups. You know, every time you complete an exploration task, you get a little, like a little perk, whatever it is. And some of them are kind of wild. Like, you no longer gather berries, you just absorb them. Or like a chance to crit. I'm trying to think of like other things, but I don't know. How much time does fighting the spider take? A minute. And my combat stat is minimal. I'm trying to do everything else that I possibly could first. Okay. So let's cook some fish, catch some fish, and then build the stone hut. Oh, it's a dry heat. I melt at any temperature over 78 degrees Fahrenheit. I will say, though, a dry heat is so much more tolerable than a wet heat. I can handle 95 in dry weather, but if you add humidity to that mix, I am dead. I can't do it. I have to be inside. You're building a hut and you have to fight off spiders. You're in the Australian outback, aren't you? I will know when I have to fight an even bigger spider. Or a drop bear shows up. You know what? That would be That would be a great thing. You just make a, effectively just alternate clone to this game, and you just call it, Outbacklution or something. I don't know. Increstralia. Yeah, mugginess is the worst. When I lived in North Carolina, it got pretty muggy. It wasn't like that bad, but there was definitely kind of a feeling of like there were days where if you walked outside, you were instantly soggy, and it just wasn't pleasant. And so I remember my mother, normally, my mother was definitely one of those people that would be like, go outside, you know, it's nice out, and do things. And that was like the one summer where she totally gave up. And just said, no, don't go outside, it's not worth it. And it was very validating because it was just that toasty, me living in Rio de Janeiro. Oh, I can't even imagine what it's like in other countries. But from what I'm used to, it's just cannot handle it. Did you see the picture on Reddit of the guy in Australia who had a spider come up to him and steal his raw bacon? No, but that sounds very Australian. Almost actually cute. Like I'm super not big on spiders, to be honest, but I love the idea of it all the same. I almost got the stone hut. Okay, cook fish first so we have enough. Yeah, because I've got a decent supply. I'm a menace to society. In sub-freezing temperatures, I leave my window open overnight so I don't overheat in my sleep. Ooh. I knew some guys in college that left their window open, like wide open, midwinter, mid like Western New York winter. So not necessarily that cold, but very windy. And they leave their window open and then blast their furnace at maximum temperature to try and keep, you know, keep an even temperature in the room. It was very strange hanging out with them every once in a while. I pretty much stopped as soon as it got cold because I could not stand it. Because I would be equal parts uncomfortably warm, but then any part of my, like, exposed skin would be outright frigid. Let's see, do you allow links here? I think if you're VIP, you're good. I think you're good. If you're not, I can always just repost it. I will see a spider stealing bacon. Yeah, we're good. I will not post it to YouTube because I know there's people with arachnophobia. Yep, that is just a spider stealing a dude's bacon. I wouldn't even be mad. I'd just be like, alright, take it. Okay. Looks like the degradation's starting to get to me. I think we need to cook some fish before I do anything else. Actually, I need to do that sooner than later. Otherwise, I think we might not make it. Oh, this sucks. Yeah, being out of cooked fish, even just for that bare moment there, I think is actually killing me. How much more does this need? 5 stone, 12 wood. Okay, so we don't need any more stone, but we do need some wood. As soon as we hit 12, we're there. Okay, come on, come on, come on. Murder hut. 3, 2, 1. Bam! Hut is done. Alright. I'm still dead, but at least I'm not as dead. We got the hut. Because the thing is, any action I do at this point in the game gets me more, Oh shoot, I need fish. Anything I do at this point gets me more EXP than normal because I'm that much faster. I'm just gonna nix that from the bar for a second, because we want to keep our fish supply high. There we go. Because all of my actions are going so much faster, both these meters go up quickly, which means my instinct level scales much quicker. Oop. And so this is the best time for training. I'm not going to try and fight a spider. I could, but I will just die. Instead, it's more important for me to just stack up as much as possible and just do what I can. Probably just focus on woodcutting and stone gathering just for the sake of speed. I know the story of a YouTuber that has a channel about swords and lives in Australia. One of his stories, he told a story of I killed a snake with a sword. And honestly, that does not surprise me in the slightest. Oh shoot, we need cooked fish. Let's see, make cart for construction EXP. If I can survive the process of getting enough resources to do it, sure. I'm not betting on it. Right now we are in the consume food and try not to die stage. Or stave off death for as long as possible stage. Because I'm trying to get it so that my my fishing speed is like berry gathering levels, which actually it's getting there. There we go. We're almost comfortable. We're still gonna run out, but at least my skills are gonna be nice and high. Yeah, my fishing instinct is big. Okay, let's see. Catch fish. Oh yeah, because we're out of raw fish anyway. So how do you raise your max HP? The farther that you go, the more you get. I'm still gonna die fairly soon just because this degradation is going to kill me. And there's no way to come back from it, but at least I can have... the entire point of this is to get a little further with every run and raise my skills that much more with every run. And so right now I'm just trying to get my farming, my fishing, and my cooking up as high as I possibly can, so that in subsequent runs I am just absolutely a food machine. Well, we can now auto-construct the wooden hut. And I did gain +4 maximum HP. Not that it really matters. It doesn't change too much.